Those of you who have been following my earlier claims that I've never been involved in a traffic crash may be wondering how I am doing now that I've just celebrated my 85th birthday. Let me tell you that almost every day I drive to go play pickleball or to keep my medical appointments or the like. Yet after 68 years of driving, I have never been involved in a traffic crash. And I'm going to tell you how you, too, can never be involved in a traffic crash. Of course, if you've already had one, I'm too late, but I'll tell you how to never have another. You may wonder, who is this guy making such bold claims? I have two unique qualifications. First, I am arguably the world's top traffic safety scientist and have received just about every award and honour. My 203 publications include 2 books with 42 reviews, sprinkled with such comments as classic and Bible of traffic safety. Second, unlike most traffic safety researchers, I have never been in a traffic crash, even after 68 years driving. Average driving for 68 years typically produces about 6 crashes. Probability of remaining crash-free is exceedingly low. Road crashes are of 3 types: unavoidable, at fault, and not at fault. Unavoidable crashes are limited to being caused by very rare events such as bridges collapsing, lightning, or airplane parts falling from the sky. Let's just ignore such extremely rare crashes. All other crashes involve driver decisions. They are crashes, not accidents. To avoid an at-fault crash is simple. Simply obey traffic law, slow down more than others, especially under adverse conditions, and especially if you're impaired by medications or lack of sleep. Devote your attention to driving. Do not unnecessarily timeshare. Einstein said that anyone kissing a girl while driving is not paying enough attention to the kiss. Take more care. Do not completely rely on unproven so-called safety equipment. Walk around your vehicle before backing. It is hard to imagine anything worse than running over a child in your own driveway. Crashes in which you are judged not at fault would not occur if you had acted differently. For the same severity impact, you are just as likely to die regardless of who was at fault. Drivers crash, on average, about once every 12 years. Yet, as good research shows, nearly all drivers think they are safer than average. This belief is reinforced every time they drive without crashing. When a crash occurs, it is blamed on bad luck or that other idiot. Keep in mind that 1% of drivers are riskier than the other 99%. Never vent your anger at the 1%. Instead, make sure their behavior does not harm you. I keep hearing, there was nothing I could do. I was stationary when I was rear-ended. Wrong. By judicious use of your accelerator and brakes, keep your vehicle moving as long as possible. A moving vehicle is more noticeable than a stationary one. If stopping is unavoidable, keep an eye on your rear-view mirror, and if you see a vehicle threatening, flash your brake lights. Use your rear-view mirror to identify tailgaters. If you see one, flash your brake lights, or slow down until he passes and chooses another victim. I have often observed a long road section with only two vehicles, one tailgating the other. Never be one of those drivers. Another vehicle running the red could be the last thing you see. So even when the signal says go, still make sure that it is safe to go. Aim to keep space around your vehicle. For example, do not choose to drive alongside other vehicles. Either pass briskly or fall behind, and keep an eye for empty spaces into which you may escape. Speed dominates safety. For a given roadway, the risk of crashing increases with speed. If a crash occurs, the risk of injury increases with speed. If an injury occurs, the risk of death increases with speed. An almost imperceptible speed reduction from 49 miles per hour to 48 miles per hour reduces fatality risk by 10%, similar to the risk reduction a driver enjoys from a frontal airbag. Reducing speed increases trip time. Trip time is also increased by fastening children into complicated safety seats. If the same additional time were used to reduce speed of the trip, then the children would be safer, the other onboard passengers would be safer, and all the other road users into which you might be crashed would be safer. Drivers speed not just to save time, but because speeding is enjoyable. But keep in mind that you're controlling a fast-moving, massive object that can inflict mayhem on other people. Pedestrians are particularly at risk. It is often said that we in the United States never walk. Yet our Yankee ingenuity is so great that we still manage to kill more than 7,000 pedestrians every year. Any crash will cost you lots of trouble and money. It can put you in a wheelchair or coffin. Motivation to never crash should make you leave 5 minutes earlier for that appointment rather than rushing to it. The motivation to never crash is central. Some people find the notion of motivation to not crash rather strange. After all, any crash ruins your day. However, most people agree that they would be more careful if their car were wired with dynamite to explode on the most minor impact. In my 1991 book, and many times thereafter, I boldly assert that I have never been involved in a traffic crash. Think of my embarrassment if I crashed after such boasts. The fear of such embarrassment reduces my risk. Money is yet another motivation to avoid crashing. My wife and I, with 130 combined years of driving, have never spent a penny on collision insurance. If all other drivers did likewise, we would all be safer. Drivers increase risk-taking if somebody else pays. There's much more about crash-free driving on my web and in my books, and also documentation of the many statements made in this YouTube. The big message I want to leave is simple. Resolve to not be an average driver. Enjoy the satisfying feeling that your behavior is reducing risks to you and your family, and also reducing risks to others you will never meet.